What do you think about that weather? That there's California weather. Guess how much gets up what the degrees is right now in Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot enough to take your shirt off and go for a jog. Yes, sirree. And guess how hot it is in Toronto, Canada, right next door to Wisconsin. Guess. Go ahead. Guess. It's damn near freezing. Yes, sir. Damn near freezing. So did you read my title? Just got out of the shower. Had breakfast. Last night I was making a video. And guess what this freaking phone did? It shut the damn video off. Every time I go on here, I gotta monitor it with this. Oh, it's probably crappy. Before I say anything, let me do this. Move the main phone up to the... Wait, this ain't the main phone. Get out of here. Ah, there's the main phone. Hiding. I just like to snoop on everything. So, did you see the title that I wrote down there? I said, get off your soapbox. Who here does not know what that means? Raise your hand. If you do not know what that means, I do not know what to tell you. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm gonna assume that the signal is good. I want you to see this picture of this ice. It's on Politico. It's on Politico. You see that? Okay, I'm gonna be commenting on that. Look at his face. Look at his hair. What racial ethnicity do you think he is? Okay, it looks like kind of mixed, but just think about that. These are the ICE agents. And so I'll comment on that in a little bit. Okay. And so just let me monitor my channel here. Today is Tuesday, by the way. Bitcoin is sitting at 69, doing exactly what I said it was going to do. Move sideways. Like that dip never even happened. It's back exactly where it was and moving sideways. Okay, I predicted that and I said it's going to do that for 1 month, 30 days, maybe 40. Okay, and but most likely 30 days. Okay, because it usually pops off earlier than what you think where you think it's going to pop off. Okay, so let me just go in here and check my signal. Signal's really weak, I guess. I guess it has to do with the overcast. Okay, so here's my channel. If you don't know what get off your soapbox means, that's pretty bad. Okay, I see there's 4 people in here, but my signal is locking up. If you don't know what get off your soapbox means. Okay. So I'm going to monitor it right here. You know, I made a video this morning. It was very early this morning. And I forgot that I had the phone down here. So it was perfect. And then halfway through the video, it just shut off. So I have to redo the whole thing. So if you're listening to me on the video I made this morning, this is basically just going to be about that. About the video I made this morning. It's just going to be a different rendition of it. Okay? And I hate doing, doing the same thing, because all the important stuff, it gets messed up. But I'm going to try to put all the stuff in there that I said. Okay? So, first of all, the premise of this whole thing is for everybody to have decent housing. This was the 10-step program that the Panthers came out with during the time that all these things were going on. If you want to check out this DVD, it's called The Weather Underground, and it'll show you what was going on back during the civil rights movement of the 60s. And this video is currently available on Amazon. Okay. It used to be on YouTube. I cannot find it. Not even the PBS copy of it is playing now. I searched all over this morning. If you search for it on YouTube, you're going to be disgusted with the contents that are up there. It's designed to make you disgusted. So I highly suggest buy the DVD or go to wherever you watch DVDs at. It's called The Weather Underground. It was made by Green and Siegel. Sam Green and Bill Siegel. Okay? And they don't want you to watch this documentary, because this is people who protested, who were protesting an unjust devil government. And it was everybody was protesting. Not blacks against whites, not Latinos against blacks, not Asians against whoever. It was all of these people who are oppressed by these devils. These devils are global, okay? They're worldwide. So the people who were following Mao Zedong in China, the people who were following Fidel Castro in Cuba, and all the peoples of America, the hippies, the Latin kings, the young lords, the Black Panther Party, they all came together and were protesting. So what did the government do? It sicked the military on them and basically destroyed them by the power of television. Okay? They basically turned everybody against these people, saying that these people are scum, right? They're bums and scum, potheads. They were taking people who they caught with a marijuana joint, when it's do as I say, not as I do. Caught them with a joint of marijuana and gave them 10 years in prison. Okay? Geronimo Pratt got a 10-year prison sentence for being caught for smoking a marijuana joint. That's why he bailed the hell out of here and went to Africa, because it was so bad. It was even bad 30 years ago. It was so bad here 30 years ago when this person here, Barry Lyons, check him out on Amazon. This book is currently non-available, okay? But I'm sure there's lots of people who have this book. This book was written by Barry Lyons 30 years ago. So he is a martyr, okay? Because if you revealed the stuff that Barry Lyons revealed about these people and you understand the implications of what devils these people are, and everyone who's involved in this industry, what they are doing to people, will make your head spin. Okay, this was one of the original martyrs. It was Barry Lyons. Check him out on Amazon. Okay, and so um, Barry Lyons is spelled Barrylynes, and I checked it out this morning. And if you search for Barry Lyons online, the first thing that comes up on Google search is Amazon. So if you click that link to Amazon, it sends you over to a book. I've never read this book, but it's Kindle, so you read it online immediately. And it's only $9.95, where it used to be like 29. If you read the listing, that's what it says. I've never read the book, but I stand with his work because he's a really good writer. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, so any people off the streets can understand it. I'll read you the first page of it. This is the first page, opens up with James Watson. Okay, James Watson is the person who, he was one of the persons, there was two people who discovered the DNA sequence, right? And this is the introduction to the book. It opens up with Dr. James Watson. He's the dude who sequenced the DNA, whatever the hell it's called. I took microbiology, but I don't remember exactly what it's called. The genome or something like that. Okay. It starts out like this. Dr. James Watson won a Nobel Prize for determining the shape of DNA. During the 1970s, he served 2 years on the National Cancer Advisory Board. In 1975, he was asked about the National Cancer Program. He declared, "It's a bunch of shit." Okay? So he does not sugarcoat his books. So if you go there and you see that one, it's a different title. This one right here is currently not available. I personally think this is his best book, but the other book might be really good. I might read it, soon to check it out. But first, I want to see if people actually start going back on here and bring this thing back up like it was back in 2011, because it was exactly like this. Not exactly. He had a few books up there. He was still younger, and he's up there in age now. But it was still nil on this book, which I think is his best book. It was nil, hardly nothing. And it got to where there was just tons of them all over Amazon. So when I start to see that start to happen, then I will go in and check out his other book, because I'm sure it's pretty good. I just haven't got the wherewithal to read the book right now. Okay, so you can't watch it on YouTube. I don't know where you people watch movies. I stay away from the TV like the plague. But if there's a place where you watch TVs, highly recommend you watch this, because people were protesting from the heart against injustice. The people who are protesting these days, most of them, in my point of view, they're just selfish, just for their own selfish reasons. They don't care about justice and equality. They only want them to get off their particular issue. They don't care about the justice and equality of humankind. Okay, so I think the problem we have in this country, why people won't lift a finger to stand up against injustice and inequality. This is what the MLK movement was about, right? Just don't judge a person by um, don't judge a person. Judge them by the content of their character. Don't judge a person. I had different things for it the other day, but I can't remember what it is. Anyhow, you get the idea. It's, justice and equality, stop the oppression. The whole idea is this. Mahatma Gandhi summed it up. Okay. He said, oppression is the worst form of violence. Okay. And the problem with people, why they don't give a shit about this, from what I can see in this country, other countries are pathetic. Some other countries are freaking pathetic. Okay, I understand that. But I think the problem with this country, for whatever reason, is we have a very, very bad case of selfish pigism. That's what's wrong with this country. It's selfish pigism because nobody cares about stopping the oppressor. Okay. And so before I show you any of these books and things, I'll tell you, okay, I talked about the 15-year-old Native American, indigenous Native American back in the 60s during the time this was all going on. Okay. This DVD basically shows you how the hippies were brown, green, white, blue, red, whatever. The hippies and everybody came together to stand up against this beast who was out here pouring hot tar on men, women, and children, whilst doing it under the banner of fighting for truth and justice and liberty, when in reality what they were doing is plundering, stealing, and thieving, and pouring hot tar on men, women, and children. That's why these people stood up against it in the 60s, and they do not want you to see it. Okay? These are real protesters. It's called The Weather Underground. You can find the DVD on Amazon because they have completely shit on it on YouTube. Don't waste your time trying to watch it on YouTube. Get the DVD or go to wherever you watch your movies at. Okay? And actually, this one has two different, I noticed it has two different CD labels. These two are actually the same movie. They got two different covers, but the CDs inside are actually a little bit different. And I think this one's better. I mean, it just looks more professional. So, but thank goodness somebody is out there copying them. And, all you do is you put this. I used to sell stuff like this. Not sell it. I used to give it away for free. I'm a civil rights activist. And you just make a copy and then you put it in these things. And, you get a fancy DVD. I've got a DVD copy machine that makes like 8 copies at a time, but I haven't used it in years. It'll probably end up going to the trash. But anyhow, so the stuff that's on here is pretty good because it shows you what was going on, how all these people were coming together, all different racial ethnicities, standing up against the people suffering from selfish pigism, right? And the people who were afflicted with selfish pigism were sitting at home saying, look at these freaking bums. I'm glad the military goes over there and freaking tear gases them freaking bums, because the television was controlling the narrative, making them think this way about them, reinforcing their self-pigism, right? They were sitting at home, sitting up high on the hog, right? They didn't care about truth and injustice. They didn't care that people were oppressing these people, treating them like shit, right? And so the DVD shows you what was going on back in the 60s. And but this book right here is called The Agents of Repression by Ward Churchill. And it talks about what was going on during these times of protest, standing up against an unjust, corrupt, insane government. And in this book, it also goes into detail about how this government can do whatever they want, and they don't even get a slap on the wrist. And nothing epitomizes that as much. I don't know if I'm using that word right. Nothing shows that as much as when the governor of South Dakota on Blue Ridge, I don't know if it's called Blue Ridge. Anyhow, the Sioux Indians, the Lakota Indians on some ridge, I don't remember. I just saw it this morning. Okay. During this time, there was the American Indian movement, which is a misnomer because really they are indigenous Native Americans. Okay. And well, they had their own Judases within themselves. They're not angels. Okay. The devils know that. They use these people against themselves. So they were labeled goons. That's what they called them. The people from the Native Americans who were working with the government to oppress the Native Americans were called goons. And they drove around in ugly ass cars, right? Ugly cars. They were basically kind of like deputized, right? And they were just running around and with guns. Okay. And so these people were called goons. And there was a girl. She was 15 years old. And she was an FBI informant. Okay. If you read a book called Snitch Culture by Jim Redden, you will understand what these are. Personally, I think the whole system is run by extraterrestrials, aka fallen angels. Okay. And this is how they control the show, by controlling everything from the top levels of government, the multi-billionaires, to all the way down to people in amongst the homeless people. They're undercover agents, agent provocateurs, informants, snitches. Okay. And so she was basically a snitch, right? This is like a Judas. No disrespect towards the family. This is just the way it is. And so the governor and I think the attorney general, you can look it up. It's on Google already if you look up her name. But they don't go to the intricacies that she was actually a snitch, right? She was an informant. And all of these racial ethnicities who are standing up against injustice, they all have their snitches when it comes to money. That's how the evil one does it. He gives them money, just like they did with Fred Hampton. It was his own people, the Judas and his own people that were undercover agent provocateurs, informants. William O'Neill. And so this informant, a 15-year-old Lakota girl, her name was Jacinta Eagle Deer. And she was 15 years old. And she was an informant for the FBI. So it's in here in this book. And this grown-ass man, governor of South Dakota, or soon to be, after he did this stuff to her, they still made him governor. The president of the United States, Gerald Ford. This is how much they care about the people. They just basically crap on the people. They're devils. If you don't believe it, read The Biggest Secret by David Icke, and he'll tell you who these people are. They're absolutely freaking devils. Okay? And so this grown-ass man had this 15-year-old informant, Native American girl, in the car. And I'm pretty sure if you read it, he and the Attorney General of the state, I don't know if it was South Dakota or Wyoming or Nebraska, or I don't know, one of those that's around there. They're all close together. They took her out and raped her. Okay? And she told on them. So the Indian, I guess the people on the reservation kicked him the hell out of there. But Gerald Ford, president, took him and gave him the job of governor of the state, just like this. And so nothing happened to him. Just he changed his job, probably to a better job. And so she was snitching on one of these devils, or two of them, the governor and the attorney general. And they set her up with another undercover snitch. Whether she knew he was undercover or not, I suspect she did not. They set her up. She got hooked up with this dude. I imagine he was indigenous, Native American. And she was 23 years old by this time. She was out in Nebraska. I forget what town. And typical modus operandi, they ran her over. They've done that to a lot of people. Okay? So it's in here. So this was going on at the same time as what this documentary is showing, The Weather Underground. Okay? By the people who made this documentary is Sam Green and Bill Siegel. Okay? Get it on Amazon right now. Just order it. It'll be here before you know it. And so that's what I want to show you. And so I want to show you this documentary here. This is documentary Thrive. What on earth will it take? And this documentary is subtitled. That means closed captioned, right? You can read it. It is subtitled in every language under the sun. Okay? If you haven't watched this documentary, you've been, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? There's tons and tons of people who have watched this movie. If you haven't watched this documentary, then you are clueless. And this documentary talks about a better world, free energy, and what it could be like in the future. This is what John Lennon was singing about. Okay? Why do you think that happened with him? And so there's been a few people talking about this. This is one of them. These happen to be multi-billionaires, which are few and far between, who made this documentary. Okay, it was made by Foster and Kimberly Gamble. And so make sure you watch this. As far as I know, it's all over YouTube. I'll have to go check again now, right? Because as soon as I mention these documentaries, they freaking hide them. Okay? Last time I checked, it was all over YouTube. Okay? When you go and search for a YouTube video, look at the minutes. Look out the duration of the video. If you look for this one, look for, at least, I could tell you exactly how long it runs, but if it says 12, 3, 7, you're just wasting your time unless you want to watch some kind of trailer or some freaking bullshit that the government put out there to make you think that the video is not good. Just go to the ones that show like an hour or something, right? So this is the documentary. It's all over the place. It's all over Amazon. It's subtitled in every language under the sun. Okay, the movie is called Thrive, and there's actually Thrive 1 and Thrive 2. But make sure that you're up to speed by watching this documentary. Okay, Thrive. What on earth will it take? And so I'm sure there's some stuff that I didn't mention. Okay, so I mentioned that about the DVDs because to watch this DVD, The Weather Underground, and to buy the DVD, if you have any, if you're not absolutely poor, homeless, then buy the DVD. If you're absolutely poor and homeless, I don't know what to tell you because they hid it on YouTube just last month. It was the first one or two that it was on YouTube. Now they freaking launched a massive campaign. They freaking have hidden it. You can't find it. You can't find the documentary on YouTube now. It's people talking about the documentary. And like I said, it's designed to leave a bad taste in your mouth so that you'll think that the documentary is garbage. Go straight to the documentary and watch the documentary. Don't go watch somebody talking about the documentary. Okay? And so the reason why I said grab them, they're available on Amazon right now, is because I don't think they're going to be available on Amazon for very much longer. Because when I started promoting Aaron Russo's Mad as Hell, they flooded the market with decoys. They came out with this movie, and I think the movie was funded by government. The government funds Hollywood to make a movie. Okay? They can do it. It's a piece of cake. Especially when you show them some money. And the name of the movie, not the documentary, the name of the movie was Mad as Hell. The same name as this one by Aaron Russo, Mad as Hell. But it was The Young Turks, and it was a movie. And they put that everywhere. So if anybody went in looking for Mad as Hell by Aaron Russo, all they're going to see is Mad as Hell, The Young Turks. And they're going to think that's the movie, right? When it's this one. When I started promoting Mad as Hell by Aaron Russo, later on, I noticed they had pulled it off the market from Amazon. And they put down at the bottom, unavailable. We don't know when or if it will ever be available again. Now, it's completely removed from Amazon. You can't even find a picture of it. Okay? Then, and by the way, Aaron Russo also came out with another documentary, which is called America, Freedom to Fascism. And I talk about that extensively somewhere else, okay? I don't know if you can watch it on YouTube. Probably. It's called America, Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo, the same person who made this. But I promote this one because it's so much more, has so much more charisma and just live energy. Okay, where the other one, it doesn't, but the information is absolutely essential to know who the freaking culprit is, the oppressor, who nobody cares even to lift a finger to expose this oppressor, that this martyr, Aaron Russo, exposed on that documentary. Nobody else had the balls to expose this freaking beast, this oppressor. And the name of the documentary is called America, Freedom to Fascism. So they took this one off the market. Mad as Hell. That should tell you something. Why did they take Mad as Hell off the market, but America, Freedom to Fascism is still there? Because they know the people are afflicted with freaking selfish pigism, right? They're not stupid. They're experts at how the mind works. They even know how to use electronics to affect the mind. There's people working on it in the military. It's called the Psychotronics Association. Okay? And so then after that, I started promoting Fred Hampton. This was all going on at the same time as the civil rights movement, what was going on in this book, Agents of Repression, and the documentary, The Weather Underground. Okay? As a matter of fact, Fred Hampton is in this documentary, but it's in color, where this one is in black and white. Video just barely hit the market back in the 60s. Okay? The next year they had color. So Fred Hampton, they got a little piece of Fred Hampton in here, and it's in color. And so I started promoting this documentary. And this documentary is called The Murder of Fred Hampton. And immediately they changed the cover. They took his picture off the cover. Okay? And I suspect the people who have the rights to this, I don't know if they're involved. They probably took some kind of incentive to do that, because otherwise it's totally stupid. Why would you do that? Okay, so that's a picture of Fred Hampton there. Okay, and he used to be on the cover right here. He used to have his picture. Now they pulled the documentary off the market. It's not available on Amazon no more. Why do you think they did that? Okay. That's why I'm saying get this DVD before they do the same thing to it like they did Mad as Hell by Aaron Russo and The Murder of Fred Hampton. Right now, it's still available. There's like 13 copies up there for sale from what I saw. Okay. And just order it. It'll be here in a few days. And so now moving on to these other devils who are poisoning our food supply. Okay, so these devils are allowing things in our food like aspartame. And they say, oh, it's safe. And even other things that I don't want to talk about because too controversial and it'll confuse you. It'll confuse the audience. They won't know which person to listen to. But things like this, aspartame, dyes, chemical dyes, and chemical stuff that are considered hazardous toxic waste in other countries, and it's not allowed in their country, just like amalgam fillings that are allowed here in the United States. Hulda Clark was telling you 30 years ago in her books, she was telling you 30 years ago that amalgam fillings are hazardous, toxic, and radioactive. They actually have uranium in them. They're not allowed in Europe. It's against the law to use mercury, what people know as silver fillings, in dentistry. They're called amalgams. It's against the law to use them in Europe. Just like all the stuff they're poisoning our food with that the FDA approves. The FDA is there supposedly supposed to protect the consumer, but they're not. They're protecting the multinational corporations, the billionaire multinational corporations. They're their strong arm. The whole system has been infiltrated by thieves and freaking criminals. Okay? And um and so if you don't believe that these people are absolute freaking devils, they've come to people's house at 3 o'clock in the morning with guns, bust through their doors without a search warrant. That is the modus operandi of the Nazi Gestapo. And if you do research, you'll see that it goes back to exactly that. Do research on Project Paperclip. Okay? And so if you still do not believe that the FDA is freaking evil, allowing them to poison your ass, then read this book by Elaine Foyer. It's this girl right there. I don't know if you can see her. Okay? Elaine Foyer. And the name of the book, and it's a page turner. Okay? The name of the book is called Innocent Casualties, the FDA's Crimes Against Humanity by Elaine Foyer. And it's a page turner, so you'll have no problem reading it. Okay? And it will show you what these devils are all about. How they did that very thing to people in Washington State for making whole wheat bread. Okay? So it used to be a lot worse before. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Signing out from the Central Valley, California. I see you people in here leaving comments. Thanks for leaving comments. But practice what you preach. Talk is cheap. The real power is out on the street. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll talk to you later. I got one person here that I'm the only protesters I like are the that's good, but I've never heard of that. And if you really care about that, then why don't you make a video live? Or are you too embarrassed? Okay, but yeah, thanks for leaving comments. I'll check it out right now. As soon as I end this, I'll go check this thing out. If it's any good, I'll comment on it. If it's not, then that'll be the end of it. But yeah, thanks for your comments there. Talk to you later.